on food is made possible by Indiana University Health.
The food choices that you make play a big part in your cholesterol levels. Right now, the CDC says that nearly 94 million adults between age 20 and over have high cholesterol. Well, keeping those levels within a healthy range can be achieved in a lot of different ways. And to help us get some guidance on that, we welcome our next guest, IU Health cardiologist, Dr. Julie Clary. Welcome, Dr. Julie. We have a lot to talk about on this subject because a lot of us struggle with making good food choices.
Yeah, making good food choices is difficult for a lot of people. It's always easy to take the easy way out, pick a comfort food, but those comfort foods aren't really comforting for our heart.
So let's talk about the contributing factors. So what do we need to look out for food-wise when we're trying to spot out what will raise those cholesterol levels?
Right, so we can make good food choices that are going to help boost our healthy cholesterol levels and keep our bad cholesterol levels at bay. So things that we want to look for. So legumes are always a healthy choice. Whole grains, choosing fruits and berries, as well as lean proteins. Always filling your plate with vegetables is always a great choice, and try to cook with vegetable oil or olive oil instead of butter.
So how do you monitor the cholesterol levels? A lot of people are maybe wondering that. Does this require a doctor's visit every time you want to look at those things?
Correct. So we should start monitoring cholesterol levels in kids. So kids should get their cholesterol levels checked between the ages of 9 and 11 for universal screening. And then depending on those values, maybe recheck again in adulthood. Typically that does come as part of a doctor's visit. Our annual screenings with pediatricians or our annual screenings with our primary care doctors. Sometimes you can get your cholesterol checked at a health fair as well.
So when it comes to the levels, they range a bit, and the guidance has recently changed. So refresh our memory of where that stands now.
So I like to see LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, I like to see those levels under 100. In high-risk individuals, we may try to push that level of LDL under 70 or even under 55.
What are modifications that we can make if we see those levels start to elevate a bit?
So lifestyle changes, choosing those healthy foods like I talked about, trying to limit our intake of fatty processed foods, processed meats, red meat, things like that, fried foods, certainly avoiding fried foods, but also exercising, getting regular physical activity is really important as well.
Let's talk about moderation because that's a key here. You know, this is not a death sentence where you just have to avoid it. If
Correct.
you take the precautions now, you can enjoy those foods a lot longer later on.
Correct. So everything in moderation, except for exercise. That's the one thing I say. You can always get more exercise. But you know, if it's your birthday, I want you to have cake, right? If it's Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate, I want you to be able to celebrate and enjoy those things. But it's the things we do day after day, those routines that we build and the foods that we eat that really have an impact over our lifetime.
One thing I want to mention and get your thoughts on, we were told during our last interview segment, you know, the charts are very helpful for medical professionals. So tracking your cholesterol at home, making sure those levels are good so that you know when and what may elevate it when you go into the doctor's office.
Yeah, exactly. We should take ownership of our health. And so tracking what medications you may be taking, what effect those had on your cholesterol, and keeping your own personal records is great. I'd say one other thing that you might want to consider doing if you haven't had it done in terms of cholesterol screening is also checking your lipoprotein A. That's something that you only need to do once in your lifetime, but it can have long-term impacts.
Well, we want long-term health, so we
Correct.
are most certainly grateful for your guidance, Dr. Clary. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daybreak.